everyone. Well, I didn't know what to think when I saw the most recent revelation appear to do with Formula One recently. It just goes to show that the season may well be over, but that does not stop news appearing, does it? Specifically, I can see another Spygate row appearing. It was revealed at the time of filming yesterday that a Mercedes employee was found to be in possession of Mercedes technical data with intent, it seems, to join Ferrari at the start of 2016. If this allegation ultimately turns out to be true, then it will cast, to say the least, a bit of a shadow over the sport, quite aside from the other problems that I've mentioned throughout the year. Because whilst Formula One is and always will be a competitive sport, there's always a temptation to go too far when it comes to trying to get a competitive edge. Using another team's data is one such way of going a step too far. But ultimately, it does not come anything close to what I believe was the worst case of bending the rules for one team's advantage. The so-called Crashgate row of Singapore 2008. For those of you who don't remember, the Singapore Grand Prix 2008, the first night race in Formula One, was the race where Nelson Piquet Jr. deliberately crashed his car in order to benefit the car of his teammate then, Fernando Alonso, to enable him to ultimately win the race. The plan was ultimately simple. Alonso was pitting early at the time, lap 12 out of 61, and Piquet was ordered to crash shortly afterwards, thus enabling Alonso to have already made his pit stop and make up ground, considering the day before he was only able to qualify 15th on the grid because of a fuel problem on his car. I just felt totally cheated because, well, quite frankly, at the end of the day, it was unnecessary. Alonso was quick that weekend anyway and didn't need to rely on the desperate actions of his teammate and his team for that matter, because for all we know, the Renault board in France was saying if you don't win a race this year, we'll consider making for the exit. And also, I think that the Renault F1 team got off very lightly that year in terms of punishment, because in theory the punishment that they could have been given was permanent exclusion from the Formula One World Championship because of it. However, in the event, the two men at the top of the time were ultimately deemed responsible. Pat Symonds, nowadays of Williams, who at the time was given a 5-year ban, and also Flavio Briatore, Italian showman, who was given a lifetime ban because of his role. And ultimately, we've not seen him involved properly anyway in an FIA sanctioned event since.